And we're live-ish, live, really live.
We're live.
So Chris has now caught the death cold that I had last week, so I gave it to him and my dad.
Your dad had it earlier this week.
And we'll see who else is next.
Bryce is
still going.
He's leaving the room.
Yep. So anyway, we're I'm running around like a chicken with my head cut off this week, attempting to get back to normal. Like I just feel a little out of sorts. I always do after SEMA. I was sick as crap, and it took me a while to not be sick. And then you've been sick, and my dad's been sick, and so we've been, and have been procrastinating. What does feel normal, I've been procrastinating on these darn pressure washing tests that we've scheduled and rescheduled 4 times already this week. It's Friday. It's not looking good.
Kyle brought them all down from upstairs.
And we had them all outside ready to go. And then had them all staged. And then yesterday I moved into the garage door, so they're in the way. I got to get it done. So the project is a lot bigger than you would think, because we're going to be making some changes to the entire line of lower end pressure washing solutions to simplify fittings, because we have some new 15 millimeter type fittings, so we can eliminate what I call the Sunjoe adapter. So we can eliminate the need to use that particular adapter, which we're sort of break even to you as the cost, because the 15 millimeter fittings are stainless, so the plugs are stainless. So the plugs are a bit more costly than the all brass, zinc plated brass plugs. But we've got to go through and adjust inventory, rebuild the configurators, rebuild all the packages and all the systems. But it's also an opportunity for us to go in and simplify. I want to simplify each area of pressure washing. So the AR will include only what's part of the AR options. The Sunjoe will only include what's part of the Sunjoe options. Then we're going to have a universal pressure washing area where you have some more obscure fittings that we find necessary in some instances will be over in the sort of the general pressure washing area. But we just keep chasing to get it cleaned up. And then I want to be able to publish the spreadsheet here soon and put it on the website. And I'm going to copyright it first. And so we're going to put it on the website so people can go and make an assessment. And then after I finish these Stanleys, I'll probably do a wrap-up video 6 months after we started this process of saying, here's my suggestion and here's why. Because that's the video that most people are looking for. And then all the comments on the pressure washing series, I can point people back to that. And then I'd like to do something very similar with vacuums. There aren't as many choices in that area. So what I found, most vacuum manufacturers don't have 9 models that are all pretty much the same. And then it will be pretty easy. We don't have quick disconnects and things like that. So it's going to be a little bit less robust, a little easier for me to chase, but probably also going to be quite a bit more expensive as well, because some of these higher end vacuums get really, really costly. But we'll see.
All right, let's see. We have people here saying hi from Italy, from Dubai, from Sweden, Ohio.
Cool. Awesome.
Brian Deal checking in from California. Man.
So the guys from G-Technic, Eric sent me a text saying, hey, you want to go to this Dubai thing we're doing? I said, absolutely not.
Dubai.
You want to go for me?
No.
Yeah, that's a stinger of a trip.
Yeah, that's a long haul.
I'm not doing that.
But then
I just want to stay home, play with my toys.
Let's see. Here's a good suggestion for your next shirt. Paul Mahundo shirt. I want to rant today. Let's make it happen. We'll see.
Right. Yeah.
Hi from Belgium. Good. All right. Let's see. So I want to get to a couple questions here. No, the Press-L bottles are not in yet. They're somewhere between Miami and here.
Yeah. What are they doing here?
That's a great question. This importing products is becoming the bane of my existence slowly but surely. But it's actually better, I guess, for people, because when they go to buy them, if they buy them on Black Friday weekend, they'll save a little money. So,
dude, our confirmation email looks pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah, that is good.
Somebody just sent me this, just forwarded me asking about, but it has, joined the Inside the Hex and dialed in, podcast. That's pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah, the bread, I went in filled this stuff out for bread yesterday just to kind of find out some options.
Mm-hmm.
The bread emails look good too, and they follow it via email and via text. It's a nice deal.
Yeah, it's pretty clean. Just speaking of that, I had talked about offering 18-month same as cash, or not same as cash, but eight interest-free financing for the Hex Plus members, and we can't freaking do it. So I just spoke out of turn. It's just like it's not an HTML option. Like it's not something that we can code or get that done in a reasonable amount of time. And so what are we doing? I think we're doing 15% off for Hex Plus members. Okay. So if you're an existing Hex member, you could always upgrade. Or if you're thinking of buying a bunch of crap, it'd probably make more sense for you to be a Hex Plus member, because Hex Plus members are going to get an additional 5% off. For the Black Friday weekend thing, so no 18-month option. It's not really, we can't just turn it off and on for certain people. It's not that simple.
All right, I want to go to this question that popped up that I think that you would enjoy answering, but I've lost it now, so I'll come back to it. But let's start with this one. What does Matt normally pack in his Adidas lunchbox? Is it OG spec? So a couple. Notice your lunchbox.
Yeah, first of all, Jeff from Nike was not too happy about that. Who has sent me some stuff, sent me some Nike stuff to test out. I'm on the wagon hardcore. Being as I just frickin' bought a gym. So to talk about an extreme example of attempting to get in shape is buy a gym, and literally the minute I bought my gym, I blew out my back somehow. So I got sick, blew out my back. And I feel pretty good today. So today's the first day I'm feeling pretty strong. Yeah.
Good.
What was I talking about? The bag.
Yeah,
and so I'm doing macro-based diet platforms just don't frickin' work for me. You'd think it would. I guess I'm not as much of a math guy as I pretend to be. I'm just not really interested in doing that all day. I don't know why. I've done it many times, and it just doesn't work. What does work for me, intermittent fasting doesn't work for me. That doesn't work for squat. I'm a breakfast guy, and so what does generally work for me is both physically and emotionally is doing, it's just breaking it up and eating, 6 small meals a day. And, I don't know if some of you intermittent fasters or your keto guys are going to flip your lid. Anything freaking works as long as you stick to it. And so that helps moderate me. That's the big problem for me, is moderation. And so it helps moderate me down to very specific amounts of quantity and how often and how much. And so, like today, I had packed a fancy water. What was that San Pellegrino?
Yeah,
I had a little
green
bottle of Pellegrino water. It was on sale at Publix when I was shopping. And actually, no, it wasn't on sale. I just freaking bought it. And then I had a Lara bar. So Lara bar at like 10:30 in the morning, or 10 in the morning, and then I was supposed to have lunch at noon, which I didn't eat till 1:30. So I made a chicken pita pizza. So I got some pre-cooked chicken.
Smell good.
Took a little bit of barbecue sauce. They get a little funky when it's 6 days later, but I made 12 of them on Sunday, and then I'll have string cheese and applesauce. And then tonight I made a bunch of chili for the week on Sunday, so I'll have chili. And then I'll have a protein-based pumpkin cheesecake for dessert. So that's my 6-meal plan, and I've been on that for however many days since Wednesday, since we opened the gym. And then I'll have a cheat day one day this weekend. I try to make it to Sunday, but usually it doesn't make it that far. So I'm getting on a routine now that I'm not traveling. I'm here. Get on a Saturday shopping routine. I learned that I have to go to the store. And so I've tried all these cockamamie schemes where hiring people to do it for me, or nutritionists, or having Michelle. I need to take ownership of it. So, which Michelle freaking loves, because then, I'm a machine.
All right, let's see. Your buddy Dave Plott said cheat days are for babies. Here's the question I figured you might enjoy answering. This is from AJ on Facebook. Are you a parking brake user, Matt? Putting the stress of the car on the brakes rather than transmission has always made more sense to me.
I'm a double guy. I do both. I leave it in first gear, you know, you as you guys who watch me drive, you know, on driving videos, I always do a second gear, first gear. So I shift when I'm downshifting or I'm approaching a stop. No matter what, I'll go into neutral, approach a stop, and I'll go second gear and first gear. And so when I park, I do the same thing: second gear, first gear, pull the e-brake, and that's my deal. If I'm on a hill, you always turn the wheel in so that as it backed up, or turned away from the curb, so it would sort of turn into the curb rather than. We don't really have hills here, but if we did, that's what I normally do.
Let's see. Shane's checking in here. Shane Wendell. I had 4 Krispy Kremes and 2 20-ounce Cokes for lunch today. Hashtag consulting life. Gary wants to know, how's the lawn situation? After your video about lawn, has anything changed there?
I've been dodging him, but I need to get with Jeff to get. He's had the results. I've just been slacking on it. So he's got the results, and so a new lawn guy just started, and so he's been kind of slowly working on things, and so I want to try to get that information to the new lawn guy so that we can possibly have him administer the stuff, or Jeff has somebody that he knows that could do it. So that's where I'm at. So I need to call him back. He left me a message like an hour ago when I was messing around with PVC pipes, and I'll call him back, and so we'll probably get on that next week or the following week after Thanksgiving.
And then follow-up question there from that same video: are you okay with a goofy bedroom fan, or will we be doing Dyson elsewhere? That's a good line, Gary.
Yeah, I don't like that frickin' fan, but it's too late. Well, yeah, I don't know. It's never too late. So Michelle had me mount the darn chandelier in that room, and now it's too high and wants me to go remount the thing, which I don't want to frickin' do, and add some links to it and rerun cut a line and redo it because the power line was a little too short. So I don't frickin' know. I don't know what I'm doing with that, but I don't like that stupid fan. It's not good. It's like I got sucked into the as seen on TV, or the highly marketed garbage. It's just not. Dyson is not what it's cracked up to be. Just like Dyson is like the Flexzilla of fans, but maybe a little bit better than the Flexzilla. Just like their vacuums are the Flexzilla of vacuums, or the Sunjo, or the whatever. They're maybe a little higher end, but very well marketed and available everywhere, and that makes them mediocre. I think it's like, it's just like big ass fans. I ended up buying those because they're the only ones that make their information readily available. I'm sure that there's somebody better than them, but I just didn't have the desire to chase that particular thing on what I should get. So I don't know what I'm doing.
All right, so as the weather gets colder, we have questions coming in from our friends in the northern states, including Kyle here in the chat. Matt, what do you think about a northern states, a car like an S4 that would be done to OG spec?
Well, I've already had an S4 before, and I didn't do a whole heck of a lot to it, but I guess that was prior to videos. That was during the forum days, because I guess I traded that in for the E92, or the F80 M3. Yeah, so that was just prior to videoing my life. But I had, AWE exhaust and pulley and intake and a couple of APR things on that car. But yeah, I don't know. It's such a boring car to drive, and I don't need all-wheel drive here. I think they look fantastic. But they're so heavy in the front end. They're heavy cars that understeer a ton. The new cars, like I drove Jared's, the latest version of the S4 was pretty nice. It was improved, but it's still, I don't know. I've kind of been there, done that. Don't really have a desire to go back to an S4. The car that does intrigue me, which would probably be boring just as much, but really fast, would be an RS6. So that could be a version of a car that I could see myself buying. But the M5, I've really come around on that. I mean, for whatever reason, putting the steering wheel on it completely changed something simple like that. The steering wheel with the big aluminum paddle shifters really changed my opinion of it.
All right, let's see. Dalton has kind of a question that's the same area. Matt, trying to figure out the best process for washing up here in Minnesota this winter. My plan is to head to the quarter car wash with 2 buckets and use a foamer. in between rinses, or should I not bother with that and just rinse off and then ONR wash at home in the garage?
Yeah, I think that's what I would do. Is I would try to knock off all the heavy stuff and then come home and ONR it, and I'd probably get some sort of foamer like the IK9 or some version of that, and have that available to apply a little bit more of the ONR on the car, and then use a bunch of towels, or maybe even the big red sponge thinger that I'm not a huge fan of. But yeah, I mean, that's what I would do. Is I'd want to figure out where am I going to go knock off all the heavy stuff, and then from there I can do some sort of rinseless water washing technique.
All right, let's see. Mason on Instagram wants to know, when, if ever, will we see an E46 M3 on the channel?
Yeah, I don't know. I'd like to. Is there a follow-up to that?
What would your plans be with it, and what would the spec be?
Yeah, so I'd get I'd want an 05 Le Mans Blue competition package, manual, no sunroof, coupe, which would that's what I would look for. I'd want it black interior, and then what I would do would be all the same usual suspects of doing all the aftermarket modifications to the car, like I did with so do intake, exhaust, and interior improvements, and try to buy parts that need to be replaced, and new carpets and or carpet the floor mats, not carpets, but really take the car and dial it in, just like I've done to like my E92 or the F10 M5, and probably have 2 or 3 different exhausts, and chase a bunch of different modifications to that car, getting some CSL type parts and things like that to really dial it in. But that's what I would want. I'd want a no sunroof manual car if I could find that.
All right, let's see this one. Hey Matt, I'm from Lithuania. I've been watching your videos for 5 years now. I am trying to start a detailing business here since people are getting more money. Any tips for product finding over there?
Yeah, I mean, I think that you're going to have to make some sacrifices, that you won't have everything that's available to U.S. people, but you'll also have things that maybe aren't available to us. And so you would have to kind of work through building out a line, or the products that you're using would have to be built from what's available to you. And then there may be 1 or 2 things that you import or you buy and have it shipped to you. But I'd be inclined to say, if you have a detailing business, you have such a leg up to be able to buy and try new things. Not only just buying and trying new things, one of my disadvantages is that, I'm not doing like 2 cars a day or 5 cars a week. And so not only can you buy things and try them, but you buy and use the whole bottle, and then, especially since you're going to have some issues getting things, buy something, use the whole bottle, decide is that what you want, is there maybe something better. So try to build out a process, maybe start with the stuff that I'm using, the process, and then insert what you think might make sense. So for car washing, or if you're building a detailing business, decon would probably be more common than washing. And so what am I going to use for decon soap? Do I even need decon soap? Can I just use some sort of degreaser, combined with some alkaline-based all-purpose cleaner combined with my regular soap? And then, what am I going to use for the iron removal? What am I going to use for claying or auto scrubbing? And then, you can kind of base it off of all the stuff that I think we need for a process, and then figure out, insert this product here. And then, by the end of a few years of product use and testing, you'll have your process nailed down. But I think you could follow the same principles of the OG process, if you will, and then modify from there where it makes sense. But I think no matter where you are in the world, I think you can pass on the cost of your product. And I think that if you can utilize branding of products to brand yourself. And so, I take a lot of heat from people saying, well, you're just wasting your money on this or that, or, all you care about is expensive or elite, or you're wasting your money because this product at AutoZone can do the same thing. But, there's something to be said about using top-notch, top-quality quality and branded products, and then you can use that as part of your branding. So I'd be inclined to say, you want to chase a really high-end process using products that you enjoy using, and don't skimp out on it, because you can just ask your clients to pay for that, because they're going to want you to use the best stuff too. But you have to be able to articulate that to people. You have to be able to explain why. Why am I using this? And know that a client isn't going to know the difference between using the WD-40 or Tarex. And so some people would go with the argument that since the client doesn't know, then you're just going to use the cheaper version. I'm not going to use the best version. And it just depends on how much you want to educate and how much you want to talk about that. But I just know if I were doing it, I would use the same stuff I'm using now. If I were in Lithuania, I'd want to get something similar with the products that are available to me. You might even have some things that are better, and then just build a process and sell that process. Here's my process. Here's how I do this, kind of thing.
We got a fun comment from Chris here in the chat. Who can I send an email to at Sonic to let them know they need to give you better margins? Just bought over $5,000 worth of tools due to yours and Kyle's help. So that's from Chris B.
Just keep buying stuff, and margins are actually pretty good with Sonic. So I'm not disappointed in the relationship we have there. And so the only thing I'm hoping is that we continue to pursue. One of the issues I have is that, and we had this issue with pretty much every supplier, is how does the sales team know that I was the source of that conversation? And so there's probably been several $1 million of products that have been sold by salespeople of the companies that I represent that I didn't get credit for because of that. So the only things that helps me the most is, buy it directly from me, because you're not paying any more. And if you did just so happen to call the company, make sure that they drive you back to me, if you will. That's the thing that I could really use help on.
All right, we got a super chat question here from Martin. I'm putting together a cat pump targeting 3 gallons per minute at 1,000 to 1,200 psi, 20 amps at 115 volts. Have you talked to someone about a specific foam cannon nozzle for this setup?
Yeah, for that you would probably want a 1.5. You might be able to squeeze 1 1/4. I mean, that's a very similar pump to what my Krenzla K165 STS is, which is a 20 millimeter, probably similar type. The Cat is going to be a crankshaft driven pump likely, but whereas the Krenzla's radioaxial, but it's very similar output, and I'm using a 1 1/4. You can hear it working. But you're right at that brink of 1 1/4. 1.5 will certainly work with that. And you easily ought to be able to, a Cat, 3 GPM on a 20 amp circuit, you ought to be able to do that pretty easily.
All right, let's see. Mark Rogers on Instagram wants to know, when do you expect to be starting the VinWiki Garage? And when do we find out about this mystery garage that you've referenced a couple times?
VinWiki will be January. I'm waiting to hear back on the cabinet ETA. The cabinet ETA will hold everything up. Once I have the cabinet, a pretty ironclad cabinet ETA, then I got to get on the phone and call every supplier to try to get that sponsored to make me spend as little money as possible on it if I can help it. And so I'm going to ask for sponsorship. I'm not asking for sponsorship on any of the other stuff I'm doing, but on the VinWiki Garage I am, because of the significant cost to me. So January. The other, I haven't talked to the gentleman yet, so it's not ironclad. It's not 100% yet, but it's very likely. So that would probably be later, mid to late next year.
He did just reveal his gender, so now they know that they've narrowed it down. So that helps. Let's see. Jeff's detailing wants to know, will you be trying Meguiar's new ceramic coating?
No, it's not really designed for us. It's really designed to be as simple to install as possible. So that coating is not designed to be a long-term coating. It's designed to be like a 12-month deal. I think you'll start to see more and more stuff Meguiar's roll out. You've heard me talking a lot about this, pro-only coating and kind of my take on how that should go. And I think what you're going to see is Meguiar's and Adams and I doubt Chemical guys, but you'll start to see, the bigger names in detailing start to catch up to the Malaysian, Japanese, and these the Asian-based coatings that have such a leg up. So I think that this is my argument for why I think the big names in coatings need to be careful, because I think Adams and Meguiar's and these consumer-based detailing companies are going to catch up in quality really, really fast, and then that's when you as a detailer, if you're a detailer charging a premium, you're going to eventually get whacked. That'll be the person that supposedly is being protected by all this exclusivity business. I think that once consumers start to figure out how easy the coding part is, that we're going to start to see more better and better coatings come from the big names. Meguiar's, I think, is going to eventually have one of the best, if not the best, coatings. I don't doubt it. But the tricky part for them is that they are truly and officially VOC compliant, or the vast majority of the imported coatings likely wouldn't pass that. Let me rephrase that. Maybe not the vast majority, but a decent percentage of them wouldn't pass muster if they were really tested heavily. And so we'll see what happens with Right to Know. If you're not familiar, Right to Know is an active partnership. I don't know if it's a partnership in New York and California, but anything shipped in New York and California, which is a large percentage of products, is going to have the ingredients list all the way down to the percentage on the label.
You're basically giving your recipe out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. All right, we have an interesting question here from Kenny on Instagram. What are the go-tos that must be on your plate at Thanksgiving dinner?
Good question. So that'll be my cheat day this week. So I'm going to skip, Dave. I'm going to skip the this weekend cheat and stay on hardcore this weekend. So Thanksgiving, I'll go hard. But I don't like all this variety bull crap. First thing I do, separation. I don't want my stuff touching. Right, the turkey can touch the stuffing, but like gravy. I don't want any. I don't do gravy.
You don't do gravy. Oh
no, gravy's for babies. I don't do freaking gravy. So I want, and I'm gonna try to fry a turkey this year because I'm tired. Turkey just tastes terrible. No matter what I do, I just can't get it right.
But no ham for you. It's gotta be turkey.
Yeah, no freaking ham. Okay. Ham's for Christmas. Get out of here. So, what might even make sense is just, the honey baked, that fake honey baked turkey, filled with salt and stuff is delicious. So what I load up on specifically are two things: sweet potatoes and
carb.
Stuffing, which I make specifically. None of this cornbread bull crap and this southern nasty slop where they pour some chicken broth on some darn, croutons. Terrible. Or some cornbread nasty. All slimy and wet. I don't want that crap. So what you do is you get Chicago-style Italian bread. I'm going to help everybody here. Okay. This is really simple. Chicago-style Italian bread. Get 2 loaves, open it up, let it sit on the counter. This is the Mormon Thanksgiving. All right, this is my mom and dad, and who knows where they got it from.
Okay.
Maybe they invented it. I don't know. But it's so 2 loaves of Chicago-style. Tear it up the night before. Rip it up. So it's been sitting out for 2 or 3 days. Gets a little harder. Tear it up into 1.5 inch size squares. It doesn't have to be perfect. Kind of lay that out. Then I'm going to chop up a thing of celery. Like one batch of celery. We go light on the celery because celery's kind of nasty. Yeah. And then 2 extra large white onions. I'm going to chop those up into little pieces.
Okay.
So I'll have those all chopped up the night before, ready to go. So then in the morning, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take like 4 sticks of butter, but Irish, delicious butter.
Right.
Put that. Take the onions and the celery. Put a crap pile of sage in there and poultry seasoning, and let that boil. So you want to kind of saute the onions and celery, and then throw the butter in there and kind of bring that to a boil and just kind of get it so the onions and stuff are soft. Then I'm going to whisk up some eggs, like 3 or 4 eggs, and kind of whatever, beat some eggs. And then I'm going to take this solution. Oh, the other thing you got to take the heart, the gizzard, and the whatever, maybe the gizzard is the neck or whatever, the innards from the turkey. Boil that in some water to make a broth. That's the water that you're going to use to pour into your stuffing. And then usually, I normally do 4 loaves of bread, because I'm going to make double batch of this. And then you kind of mix it all together and then bake it and stuff some in the turkey. And that's really all I need is sweet potatoes, delicious stuffing, tiny little bit of turkey, and then maybe some mashed potatoes. And no frickin' lumpy mashed potatoes.
You do the, what's it called, cranberry sauce?
No, God, no. What am I, no.
That's for babies, too.
No, that's for grandmas. That's for old ladies. Nasty. No cranberries, nothing else. And then pumpkin pie.
Pumpkin pie for
with
dessert.
Pounds of whipped cream. That's it. 4 things. Get rid of all that other garbage. You don't need it. You don't want it. You just don't know any better. And then don't mix these things. I usually go get one, eat all that. Go get the next thing, eat that. Get the last thing, eat that. Don't mess up your plate with all this mixing business.
Now, do you do like marshmallows on your sweet potatoes?
I don't really like that. No. Okay. No, you do like the basically a giant like crusted of delicious brown sugar and like walnuts, but and like quadruple whatever that recipe says, and quadruple the butter in there. So lots of butter. And that's it.
Man, we've started some good comments here. David Leach has some.
What's he got? What kind of lies is he telling himself?
This is a good suggestion for you if you're going to fry a turkey.
Yeah, I need this.
Make sure you fill the fryer with water first.
Okay.
You dunk the turkey in there, and then you mark the displacement level. Then you dump the water out, fill it up with fryer oil, so you don't put too much or too little in there.
You also don't put a frozen turkey, or it's like an explosion, right?
Bad things happen. You end up on YouTube.
Yeah, I've got to shoot. I'm running out of time, aren't I?
You got a week.
Yeah, but where am I going to get all this stuff? I want like a high-end turkey fryer. How do I get this? I need to figure this out. I'm going to work on this after this.
You're missing podcast. That mac and cheese. Come on.
Not on freaking Halloween, or not Halloween, Thanksgiving. You've lost your mind?
I love mac and cheese.
There's no room for I love mac and cheese too, but there's no room for that.
All right, let's see, man. There's also green bean casserole.
Gosh, no. You put some cornflakes on top of that or some vomit on top. It's like vomit in a container.
Infrared fryer, according to Shane, no oil required if you want to be fancy there.
I do want to be
a little more
fancy.
Healthy.
I don't care about health on Thanksgiving. I care about deliciousness. I need to bring the turkey back into the fold because the turkey tastes like crap every time I get it perfect. It looks perfect, and it just doesn't taste the way I want it to.
All right. One last question here about the turkey, because this is a topic of conversation in my house. What time do you eat this meal?
Whenever it's done. So it's usually like 2 o'clock.
Okay.
Which kind of sucks. I want it to be at like 5. But
yeah. Some people do dinner, some people do lunch, and then some people do that 2 to 3, which I don't like because then that throws off my whole schedule.
I don't like it either, but that's kind of when it gets done. Oh. So I'll shoot for like 4 to 5 is like the perfect time. Because then you can lay around, recover, go back, hit the pumpkin pie hard,
While you're watching football.
Yeah. Yeah, you got a nap in between. So I'll usually get a decent quarter of the pumpkin pie right after eating, this stuff. And then I can go lay it off, sleep it off a little bit, come back, finish the rest of the pie. That's the goal.
Gotcha. All right, there we go. There's our culinary segment. People asking about my bourbons for Thanksgiving. Booker's, always Booker's. That's what they go to. Especially if you're with some extended family that you may or may not want to be around. The Booker's always helps.
Give you a little numbs it a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Any thoughts on testing Auto Fanatics products? I know we mentioned this before. Recently received them. Like the coatings. Did you get to... Oh, excuse me. I mixed those two up. What else are you testing from the WoWo's line of supplies, and how do you like them so far?
I'm not super enthused to test any new stuff. I just feel like, the longer the company's been around, the better chance they have of making something that's like, transcendent. I like Phil and I talk all the time, and, he's on version 4 or 5 of the wheel cleaner. Well, I'll just wait for version 10, because the stuff I have is probably better. Maybe it isn't, but it probably is. And I don't tend to be a beta tester type. I'll leave that up for some other people. I tend to be obscure tester, but an obscure tester of things that have been around a while is generally my preference. Now, I don't have a lot to back that up of why that's my preference. It just is. And so I'm not really much of an early adopter. I never have been. I've been and some people are. I'm more of a late adopter to products that aren't so well known. So that's why something like Cook Chemi is interesting to me, because it's not a new product; it's just new to me. And so that I'd be much more interested in chasing that. There's only so much room to chase products, and so I have to kind of make judgment calls, sometimes based on fact, a lot of times based on my gut. And my gut, that I've learned, is pretty valuable.
We have a question that popped up in chat here, and maybe the same guy on Instagram. Any update on the quick disconnects for the MTM PF22?
I have to give Rusty a call. He sent me I think they made a prototype. So I'm not sure. I don't know if they've kind of ramped up, if they've had a bunch of business. This is like a pet project for the two of us. So it's not something that's like a primary gig. But, yeah, I think it's something we may have soon. I know he's getting closer.
All right. John on Facebook says, looks like Invisible Glass released a new product at SEMA, glass stripper to prep for sealants and coatings. Did you get to look at that, or is it just a compound?
Yeah, I missed that. I hadn't seen that. That's a good thing I should look into. I just skipped right over the booth because I thought I knew everything. I skipped by. They had like 3 different booths in 3 different spots. I just rolled right past them. I didn't want to. It's something I didn't want to waste time. It's like I didn't go and spend time at a lot of the booths that I know what they got. I spent most of my time on booths that I wasn't sure. Like I missed Mosmatic. I'd missed, I missed Color Lock. I largely missed the Rag Company because I know what they got because I've got it. And so, apparently I don't know what they got because I missed out on some stuff.
All right, let's see here. This is from Anthony on Instagram. I'm new to polishing. What's the trick to keep the cord on the Rupes from tangling? Seems to happen when I move from the car to the spot to blow it out and then back to the car, or perhaps this is just newbie problem.
Yeah, I think we all have that same issue. That's why I like the Pro-Lock extension cords if you're going to use an extension cord, because then you can just whip it around and it doesn't come loose. And one of the tricks is to not have a bunch of extension cords out all over the place. So now I've got extension cords, I've got pneumatic, air lines and all this stuff laying around, and cords for your lights and all this crap. So I think the trick is to try to keep it to a minimum if you can. And like a lot of times I'll unplug the 3-inch if I know I'm not going to use it for several panels and put it back up on the counter. But yeah, using the locking, the Obsessed Garage version of the Pro-Lock power cords is I think a smart thing that helps me out a little bit. Because then I just yank it around, and that way it stays where it needs to stay. You don't have to worry about pulling it out or tying a loop in it or something.
All right, Dan Pfeiffer chimed in the chat here from Minnesota. Gravy is for men. There we go. That's darn right, Dan. Let's see. When can we see a video detailing your new gym, and what is your drop-in fee?
$20 drop in. That's an interesting question. I don't know how it's going to go on how much I'm involved in the content creation. So I think I'm going to push to make the community, the content creators, or the content subjects, and then have Johnny be the content creator and another one of the a major part of the driving the community. I'm going to have to kind of show him and teach him how I want that to look and feel. But I don't think I'll be one of the people in the videos that's just part of the community, hopefully in shape. Right now, we're just not doing a good job we really need to be documenting the construction of it. Like today I went and bought some PVC pipes and just little things that like I bought Electro-Voice speakers. You'll see the video come out tomorrow morning. I bought some pretty cool, PA type, professional audio type speakers, and I think I think we're kind of missing out on some of the culture, the construction of it that I would have normally done, just because I've got to teach him how to do that, and I don't really have time to do it because I'm making content for this, this business. So I don't know how that's going to go. We'll see. I talked to somebody today about creating a supplement line, which would be kind of cool. The CrossFit Dialed In is what it's called, because I couldn't call it Obsessed CrossFit. They wouldn't let me do it, which is ridiculous. But anyway, someone has the word obsessive in their name somewhere in the world. And so I'm like, I don't want obsessive, I want obsessed. But anyway, CrossFit Dialed In is cool. We had a cool logo, and so there's going to be a lot of me in there, but I don't want it to be my business, or my focus. I want it to just be something I get to go and enjoy, but it's to my standard. So, I've probably been to 75 CrossFit gyms in my life, all over the country, and little things that I've seen that I would want. And, very few of them are going to have the culmination of all this cool stuff in one spot. And I'm going to make it all happen.
All right, this is from Jonathan on Facebook. Matt, since your primary gripe about the Corvette seems to be the seating position, have you looked into any aftermarket seat rails to position the seat lower? Head clearance seems to be a consistent issue with this car, so it makes sense there's a pre-existing aftermarket solution.
I don't think there's anywhere for the seat to go. It's kind of sitting on the floor already. So, and I guess it could be some sort of reverse type, but I think the base of the seat is sitting on the floor. I need to get in there and dig into it. I will be soon, because I ordered all the interior parts to upgrade or update the interior, and because most of the suede is ruined. So I don't know. Maybe I'll tear the seat out and see what I can figure out there. But yeah, something needs to be done.
Did you ever get a chance to play around with some of the new Pro Meguiar's products revealed at SEMA? Really curious about M799 Bead Booster due to its anti-static properties and being specifically engineered as a top coat booster.
I don't know. I just have zero interest in all these top coat beading silicon dioxide things. I don't know. I'm sure I'll try it at some point, but I'm not super enthused about these things. Just dumping a bunch of silicon on the surface just doesn't appeal to me. Till somebody shows me why. Why is that better? Because no one has ever said anything about why it's better, other than goofy marketing bullcrap. Why all of a sudden putting silicon dioxide on things? Why all of a sudden is that the way, the future? And beading water is not the answer. I want something that's hydrophilic, not hydrophobic. So I don't know what the benefit of having a bunch of little tiny beads on a car is. And it's part of the reason why I like Bead Makers. It doesn't bead all that well. It's a stupid name. It's adds more depth and clarity. So I'm going to get into that. I've already signed a bunch of NDAs to go out to B&B Blending. And so I'm going to be flying out there, and we're going to be shooting some videos about, not about industry or companies, or more about generic chemistry around certain product types. And so we're going to dig into that kind of stuff. And I think he's going to be able to show me why, and maybe my opinions will change. I've talked to Marcus about that. How can we get into this detail of the chemistry? Why are you coming out with this stuff? There's something they know that I don't, because I don't give a crap about these silicon dioxide based products.
All right, let's see. Nick chimed in here in the chat. Hey, mate, I just received some of your hats and shirts. They're absolutely legit.
Awesome.
So on that subject, let's see. Geo from Facebook. Can the flush mount twin bush scissor lift be special ordered? He found one on the German Twin Bush website.
No.
I'm assuming it's European only thing, like their gray powder coated lifts, but that won't stop me from daydreaming about garage giveaway possibilities.
Yeah, no. They the issue you have to remember is the conversion from 50 hertz to 60 hertz, and then to what are they, 220 over there, or whatever that, 240 to 110. And so they have to make a commitment to that, and it's hard enough to get the ones that they have. But yeah, I wouldn't rule that out. I would like to have that here. what would probably get me motivated is if I start building my own garage, and I need that. Because the bend pack, I think, is a little too short. I have to talk to Nick about how he's dealt with that.
All right, Adam wants to know, Matt, are you going to use Ultra or Halo on either your Porsche or Corvette?
Both. Yep. Both. Yeah, I'm going to give Halo a shot on the PPF and then probably do Ultra on the rest of the car and continue my campaign to get Ultra available to us here in the U.S. What I'm hoping, or maybe what I should do, is just have them, we create a private labeled version that basically is Ultra that's in my name. So, I don't know. Or something similar.
Let's see. This is from Keenan. In one of your recent videos, you talked about the BMW M2. Have you put any more thought into purchasing one of those in the future?
No. I think it's a cool car. I wouldn't want a competition package. Those are ridiculous. They sound terrible. So I would want an N55, car. But yeah, I don't. It's so similar to my E92, without any of the my E92 without any of the drawbacks of the turbo. So I don't foresee myself getting. I'd see myself getting E46 before one of those. I think the likelihood this year of to 2020 of me doing a bunch of cars is pretty slim. I'm not ruling it out, but I think it's to be slimmer because I'm all over the garage stuff. So I think. I've got the rest of my life to chase whatever the heck I want to chase. But I think the next year or so is going to be very garage focused. So when I finish the Z06 and I finish the M5 only has the intake to do, and to change out the B pillars on the to get rid of the shadow line because it's dented. But other than that, I think I'm going to take a little bit of time to just enjoy the GT3 RS and do some things to that, and focus on the garage. But we'll see. Some car catches my eye and I chase it. The guys from Gears and Gasoline came down. Ben did from Gears and Gasoline to shoot a video with me, and then she went over to Freddie's house to shoot there, and he's going to shoot it at Ed's garage, Ed Bullion's garage, before I do it. And we were talking about doing a EM1, doing a Civic Si. And he's got me convinced. Everybody's convinced me. Anthony from the Rag Company, and he said that I need to do a Civic Si, my original Electron Blue Civic, and do a giveaway on that would be huge. It'd be cool anyway. I don't know about huge. I don't know if anything that I ever do will be huge, but that car I think would be kind of fun to just do. But I'm all in. Like the darn Corvette, it consumes my existence. Now it's all jacked up. It's way worse. This is what happens every time. I make the car way worse, and it takes it's like this process you have to go through to get it right. So, yeah, the Corvette's all wonky. So, but I'll get it there. Just ordered a DSE controller for that today, and a DSE controller for the GT3 RS. I'm going to do those. I think that'll be a cool video to share. And I held off on doing the RT shocks, DSE's shocks, which would be a Magna Ride similar but upgrade, having better shocks. But they're like $5,000, so I'm going to hold off on those and see if I even need it. So I did a smart thing today and took it a little slower. But yeah, the Corvette's coming together now. It's too low in the front. It's freaking rubbing crazy. I thought the sway bar was binding, but no, I've realized the freaking front wheel is catching on the darn fender when I'm going around the corner. So it's like literally stopping me from turning. I'm like, oh, Lord, this car sucks. Can't even freaking lower it.
What kind of exhaust did you have on your Gen 2 Raptor, and would you recommend that or something else?
I didn't do an exhaust. I don't want to hear that thing. It sounds so bad. So, yeah, that was the one thing I didn't do on that, or wouldn't do on that, is to change the exhaust, because I don't want it any louder than it already is, because it sounds terrible.
All right, Sean in the chat here says, I just want to thank Kyle Henderson for his help on my recent order. Fantastic customer service. So there you go, Kyle.
I'm working him hard, aren't I? He seems to be okay. He's hanging in there. We're getting him into CrossFit to have more energy so he can keep driving. Yeah, but we're we're driving them hard. The longer term vision would be to have Kyle head up Obsessed Garage Design, focus on that, and so we'll probably, I would think, mid next year we'll have to add another technical support person to learn under him, and so that'll be I think an opportunity later next year for somebody to come and have. I think it's a cool gig. You learn a freaking ton fast, and you get you're like first line hands-on of what I think to be some of the coolest stuff in the world. So that'll be a gig that I'm sure I'm going to get 10 emails now about wanting that job, but it's a pretty cool darn gig, and you're dealing with really cool people. That the guy that just commented, I bet you he was a joy to deal with. So it's a mutual exchange there. I can't do it for everybody, and so I need somebody to help me, and I'm looking to create little mini-me's that can have on that front that can do that sort of thing, and Kyle has taken that and ran with it pretty awesomely.
I always like to highlight the praise for Kyle, because poor Kyle, he handles a lot of changes to orders and such.
Yeah.
And every time there's a change, they playfully give him grief out there about it, and all day long just rag him. Okay, Kyle, what are we changing next? So good work, Kyle. Let's see. Opinions on the 992, and do you see yourself upgrading to a GT model in the future? It's from Nick on Instagram.
I'm assuming he's not realizing that I have the GT model of a 991. Maybe. I get what he's saying. So would I get a 992 GT3 RS? Yeah, probably. We'll see. We don't really know 100% what that car is going to look like, but I don't really have any interest in the 992 Carreras because they're turbo, and I just don't like that. I think it takes something away from the car. So if I was getting a Carrera S at this point, I'd be looking for a 2015 GTS, a naturally aspirated car. Even though it's a lot slower and doesn't have as much torque, I would find that car more visceral.
All right, let's see. Jill on Facebook wants to know, I believe you had mentioned in previous podcast that once you're no longer licensed, you could go into more depth regarding sharing financial advice. Is this something you plan on sharing more info about in the future? That would be some extremely interesting content.
It's tricky because I'm a little confused on all of that. Everything that I once knew, I now know is no longer as valid as I once thought it was. So maybe that's something I could spend some time talking about. This notion of I'm going to save to retire, and I don't know that I believe that anymore. And I'm not saying you don't save, but the traditional notion of retirement, and I'm just going to put my eggs, put some, save some coins and put my gold away, and then it's going to compound, and then I don't know. I'm confused on what to do. I've tried to hire a financial advisor, and there's freaking nobody that I would consider. So at some point, hopefully I have enough money to hire. The people that I would want to hire would need, a lot of money to manage, because I don't really have an interest in managing my own money. I've just let that. It's like when I left that, I let it all go, and I just indexed everything. So I own a like a blended index. I bought a bunch of ETFs and a few individual companies, which I generally don't do or certainly didn't recommend for most people, because they can't handle that. Can't handle just buying. Like I owned a crap ton of Facebook. I own a little less of it now, but most people generally can't just buy it. Just stick with a thesis. They're jumping around all the time, which is, I think, a big mistake. But I think I'll probably be of more value on that topic, 8, 9, 10 years from now, because money is much more of a game than I knew it to be. Money is again much more of a result than it is a penny pinching. I'm gonna just put X amount away and have it compound exercise. So I'm confused. As you can tell, I'm confused on what I believe to be my former expertise. What I now know has called into question all of my knowledge. And I don't even know what it is. So, yeah, I guess I probably would speak more of it specifically and inside the hex, when I'm no longer licensed and no one can come after me anymore, and I can just speak as a human about what I'm doing and what I know, and not provide advice, but just provide a documentation of where I'm at, and where I was and where I at. So more of a chronicling or a sharing of my evolution and where I'm at today. And you could kind of use that similar to what I'm doing with detailing. It's not like I'm not providing. I don't even call it providing advice. I'm curating products and then just imparting on you my, my system. And so I would probably do the same thing from a financial perspective. But it's just so odd that I didn't know what I didn't know. And now that I know, I can't believe I had the audacity to provide advice that I didn't know what the heck I was talking about. Textbook wise, I did, but even then, the textbooks, it's like they gave me another textbook, like they opened up a back room to another library of information that no one else can even see. It's like a separate room. Like, did you see? I'm sure you've seen National Treasure 2, where they're looking for the president's book, and they go back in that separate room. Well, I got access to that separate room, and I don't even know how to explain. I've gotten through chapter 1 of like 10,000 books that's in that separate room, and I don't know what. It's like my head is exploding. So, I know that wasn't the answer that he was looking for, but.
Well, at least one person here in the chat said that is the exact financial discussion I'm looking for. So,
yeah, I think there are plenty of good resources, financially, that you can go to for real simple ideas. But think of the most successful people that you've met in your life, and none of them follow that formula. Not frickin' one of them. 0% of them do. Of the wealthy follow this traditional, financial model of financial expertise of I'm going to max out my backdoor Roth IRA. You can do that stuff, but when you're playing in a different game, none of that stuff matters. And that's when you stop caring about who's president and you stop caring about what the tax code is. You just figure out how to play the game. None of that stuff matters, and I've not even been invited into that house. But I've now know it's like I now know what the Illuminati is, and I don't know what to do with it. And that is business ownership and entrepreneurship and working for yourself and all this bull crap. It's much more complicated than. And those of you who own a business are shaking your head right now that especially if you worked for a place. That wasn't like ours as a startup. You get an X-ray into this. So I believe that everybody that's here is going to have a leg up in life on things, on how to see, how to do things a little bit differently. But I mean, you still max out your 401k and things like that. But I don't know what to tell people on the rest of it. I got to stop talking here before I get myself in trouble.
All right. We'll save you from prison here. Kyle Henderson jumped in the chat here and said, all right, folks, 7 pallets of you-know-what just showed up.
Uh-oh.
So that means the Press-All bottles right now, today, got here, I guess, while we've been sitting in here.
Oh, boy.
So that's good. So I guess they'll be up in the store later. Let's see what John asked. What are your thoughts on the Discord group, and will you be participating in any discussions on there?
Yeah, I've already dropped a couple of emojis in there for you. The first 2 emojis I've ever used in the history of my life. One was the poop emoji, and the other, for some reason, was the bacon emoji. I don't know. It'd probably be hard for me to. I've so many things to participate in. I'm following up on comments. So my normal flow is emails, number 1. Number 2 are YouTube comments for me. Number 3 is the Facebook group. Number 4 are DMs on Facebook and Instagram. Number 5 would be other miscellaneous things. And so I don't know how into Discord I can get. I just have to draw the line somewhere, because most of my time online is spent learning about crap, searching for products and stuff. And so I do stay up very, very keenly on the Facebook group and YouTube comments, and I answer every DM, and I get get combined weekly is if not hundreds, maybe even in the low thousands of things that I could participate in, on a weekly basis. So,
all right, Mason wants to know, what kind of music are you currently listening to?
I'm back into the Wu lately here.
Oh, they have like a reunion tour or something?
I don't know. I've been watching the Wu-Tang Saga on Hulu, so I've been listening to that. Simultaneous cough there. So here's something that I just heard on the Joe Rogan podcast this morning, and it really opened my eyes here that unless you're a teenager, you can listen to whatever the heck you want, right? And I still hold on to that, like I should only be listening to certain things. I'm into punk, I can only listen to that. Like everything else sucks. Or then when I got into rap, I should only listen to that. And I could never listen to country or never listen to this or that. So I still have a little bit of that kind of twinge that I should only be listening to certain things. I don't know why. I don't know what that is. And so I'll just listen to whatever's good. Whatever I deem to be good is what I listen to. And so I listen to a lot of different stuff, but obviously the new Tool, I've probably listened to that 50 times. And then I've been back into, and there's all this new Wu-Tang stuff that I missed over the last 10 or 15 years. It's pretty sweet.
It's like you're rediscovering it. It's
a whole new world. And those speakers next door are really great for that. The PA stuff, all that electro voices. It just bodes itself well to that kind of MC stuff. It's pretty cool.
Bryce is chiming in the chat now. He said Matt's afraid to admit he listens to Ariana Grande. If that's how you pronounce that name.
I've been there. I've tried, but I've listened to her stuff too, and I listen to top 50 or whatever on Spotify to see. You have to skip over 90% of it because a lot of it's mumble rap. It sucks. Some of mumble rap is okay, but most of it's terrible. I think I've said this before. You go watch that Travis Scott documentary on Netflix, and you're like, man, this is freaking awesome. And then you go and listen to music, like, this is terrible. How could anyone be going crazy over this stuff? It's like slow and goofy. It's like stunted, intelligently stunted. And that's what's so great about about that kind of that 90s rap, was like these guys were like battling each other in the same group. It's just pretty sick. I mean, just listening to how they actually had to put words together that made sense instead of, go listen to Drake. He's got a cool hook, but like, just listen to the words. It's like the most ridiculous, simplest. Like there's no intelligence there. I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about.
All right, let's see. We have a question here. When was your last zebra cake?
I think it was on
the podcast.
Yeah, I know. I don't think I know that was the last one.
All right. When I test speakers, I always pop in a Toto CD.
Oh, yeah. That's good. Heck yeah. I'm down with that.
Let's see. Edwin on Instagram. Do you attribute your pitching skills with companies to your success or experience in wealth management, i.e. selling skills, building relationships, etc.?
That's funny. We were just talking about that, you and I were, this week, about what I've been doing is not going to work in the future, as I'm having to discuss becoming a vendor for bigger brands. They just don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear the goofy, rags to riches story or whatever, the goofy, all they hear is this guy's going to be a problem. And so what we're going to be doing is taking and making a bunch of case study type things that I could submit to a manufacturer like Milwaukee or something like that. Because the call, no, I got crickets. So I'm going to have to work a little harder than I have. And like with Ego, when they said no, I'm going to have to figure out a way to not. It's not I'm going to not take no for an answer. It's that I'm going to be a bit more poignant and intelligent with how I approach companies, and so I'm attempting to put myself in their shoes. What would they want to hear? What would they want to know? What would they need to know in order to give me a shot? There's no question. Anything I sell, there's no question that it's going to. I'm going to do well with it, and we're going to both mutually benefit. But they don't know that. So we're working on creating some case studies. And the 3 companies I talked to, what I wanted to do, what would be really cool, and I didn't even sign an NDA on this sort of, or I only shared it with whom they approved me to share it with, so I wouldn't make this public. But what I wanted to see was like, okay, X amount of product was sold, then I picked up the product, I sold Y amount of product, and the company sold Z amount of product. But no company's ever going to share with me their total sales. I don't know why companies are so freaking secretive about this crap. It's because everybody's in competition with each other. I think that would be really interesting information. And shoot, if I were them, I'd want to make it public. Hey, we took on this product, this gun or this wand or this detail spray, and we made a video this day and a video that day. And sold X in Q1, and so we sold this amount in Q1 and this amount in Q2 and this amount in Q3. So how much did I sell, and then how much did they sell? And I think the fear of companies not wanting to share that with me is they're afraid that I'm going to want more money, which I probably will. So they're probably right. If there is a remarkable change in how much of the product overall was sold. But what I'm going to do is provide a resource to like a Milwaukee Tools or a Eagle Blowers or some bigger company, say, here are some statistics of, and we'll have some bullet points on our chart that shows, when we launched a video, when we put the product in the store, when we started buying it, how much have sales increased from A to B. We started selling $5,000 and now we're selling $500,000. What is that? What do I think I could do with their product, as well as submitting them, here's what I think my first order would be. Because generally their objections are, no, we already have enough online people, which there's no such thing. There's no company believes that. No, we have too much marketing. No one has ever said that. So they're looking for ways, every single company on the planet is looking for ways to get more relevant socially online, and so I know that I can help with that, but how do you state that? So I'm going to do it statistically rather than telling the stories that I always tell that they don't believe, because everybody tells them the same story. Just so happens that my story is true, but everybody believes their story is true, so they hear it over and over and over again. So I would rather approach it statistically. Then I think my odds improve of companies saying, okay, let's give it a try.
Let's see. Your friends at Blend Mount are here in the chat. Did you install your C7 Corvette radar mount yet?
No, not yet. It's on the list. I've been dealing with the darn suspension when I can't frickin' steer the car. So it doesn't do me any good to have a radar detector if I can't steer left or right. So yeah, it'll be coming in the garage here shortly.
All right, here's a good question from 618 Developer on Instagram. When you venture into garage design next year, will we see new products to be vetted like heaters, mini-split AC, door openers, etc.?
Yeah, I think all the above. I would like to have the ability to, both business-wise and monetarily take advantage of, if I'm going to be suggesting products, to be able to provide it all. I mean, I'll have to draw the line somewhere. But yeah, I want to have a full solution set where we can pull from. This is part of the reason why I'm going to be needing to approach big companies that make great products that aren't as obscure as some of the ones that I've been dealing with from the beginning that have much bigger sales numbers where I'm going to have to do a lot more convincing. Air King Fan still hasn't given me the time of day, and they're not even a big company. So I need to change my approach a little bit. But I would like to have a full suite of garage-related products. And so when I tell you that I've only have 20 or 30% of the products that are in my head in the store, I'm being truthful on that. There's a lot to chase. And I think that detailing again is a major part of this whole thing, but it's a smaller percentage of the overall garage. And so I've focused so much this past year on the year before on building out the structure to be able to deliver the product, but also building out the detailing line. And so detailing will be. It's not that I'm going to let that go. I'm going to have to create from scratch the garage components.
All right, let's see. When are we going to be getting more SwissVax leather brushes in? They've been ordered. We're awaiting those. Those also come from overseas first.
What was that?
The SwissVax leather brushes.
Yeah, I'm just going to do I just called Color Lock. We should have them next week. So Color Lock makes them for SwissVax. So it makes more sense. Color Lock has a representative in the U.S., and so I'm going to have 250 coming. I just ordered them today.
What about those sick garage doors from the Seattle Car Club building? My dream doors. What were those called again?
Yeah, Rytec. Yeah, I mean, that's what I want to put in my garage. So, and they'll certainly be something I want to put into OGHQ. Yeah, they're $20,000 a door. So you got to factor that in. But they're freaking awesome.
Prestige Mobile Auto Detailing wants to know, do you still watch or listen to Gary Vee? I feel like he really has this thing called Life Figured Out, focusing on happiness, not on money.
No, I haven't. Gary Vee kind of comes and goes for me, in listening to the podcast or whatever, depending on where I'm at. And I feel so not confident, but settled in where I am and where I'm headed that I find myself consuming that content off and on, depending on what part of life I'm in. Very specifically in the transition out of wealth management into this, I was listening to a lot of Gary's content, but admittedly, I don't feel the need as much because I have a very clear path. But maybe I should check that out.
Let's see. This is a good question. Did you grow up playing football around Thanksgiving Day with friends?
Oh, yeah. Shoot. My buddy Mark always sets it up, and the last 2 years I've kind of skipped out of doing it, so maybe I should show up this year. We don't play tackle, though, because we're all getting kind of old, so playing tackle is rough. But, yeah, off and on my whole life. Mainly tackle football, and even in high school and college, and then out of college, and so in my 20s and 30s, probably 50% of the years I'll show up somewhere to play either flag or touch or tackle or something like that. I think my tackle days are over, though.
Yeah, the older you get, the more trips to the hospital.
Well, yeah, the problem with it is my darn hamstrings go, because you do a couple toe touches and start sprinting, and I don't find it as fun, when you have 37 wide receivers and one quarterback, and then two fat guys that don't want to run, so then they're the ones who play on the line, and they just kind of lean on each other the whole time. But yeah, and it's also not as fun because you can't run as fast or jump as high, and so. And then you don't play often, so everybody's dropping the ball all the time because you're just you're not catching balls all the time. It's kind of stinks, but yeah, Mark puts something together, but I got to drive 45 minutes down there. Maybe I'll do that this year since I'm on the path to fit.
Boston DJ Company wants to know, Matt, have you ever driven the Porsche 918 Spider? What would be your favorite car to drive and perhaps get one day?
No, I've ridden in one just shortly, but I haven't driven one. I don't know. I don't really have that in me. I kind of have the cars that I want. So same thing when I go to car shows or things like I don't really care to look at other people's cars. I just get the cars that I want to get. Would I buy an 812 or whatever, 458 Speciale or 488 Speciale or something if I was balling that hard? Maybe. I can't really speak to that because I've never been there. But I can speak to the fact that I had aspirations for a GT3 RS for many, many years, at least a decade plus. And I don't have any other aspirations beyond that. I just want new GT3 RSs. When the new one comes out, I want to be able to do that. I want to be able to change up. So yeah, I don't really have anything that I really care to like. Oh man, I just can't wait to go drive. I could drive anything I want. I just gotta ask anybody. I could find somebody to let me drive basically any car outside of maybe some rare one of ones or something. And even then, I could probably make that happen. but it's just not something I'm really interested in. So to answer your question, I don't really have anything right now. I'd like to drive the new NSX, but again, all I'd have to do is just go do it. I don't care enough to go do it. And I think that the common theme here is that cars are not my passion. It's not like the driving force. Cars are one, again, just like detailing. Detailing cars are like a percentage of the overall passion, but the garage is the culmination of all of that. So, yeah, there's not like a car to say, oh my gosh, I can't wait to drive. I would just go do it if it was that much of a chase.
All right, Nathan wants to know, how's the training going for the family adventure race?
Good question.
Is it going?
Well, yeah, because we're hardcore into CrossFit right now. So the whole idea of all of my adventure racing has been CrossFit and just show up and do it. And then frickin' Justin Green cramps, and I'm carrying him because he's a baby. Everybody's cramping except for me. And then Brad Gerald talking trash about how he never cramps. And then we do our first race, and what does he do? Starts cramping. I'm like, you guys are babies. Yeah, I get it. If you cramp, that's brutal. But I don't know. Maybe because I carry more body weight. But I don't never freaking cramp. I'm like, let's go. I literally, one time we're in the middle of a swamp, and I picked up Justin Green on my shoulders and just carried him for probably a mile. Yeah. So, we're all training, but not training specific training because there's no swimming. You're just in a canoe. Anybody can get in a canoe and row the boat. It may take a little bit of effort to steer, but I'll be in the back of the boat anyway, and I know how to do that. So the tricky part will be navigating and steering the boat. That's the hard part because normally the navigator would ride in the front of the boat because you're just kind of helping out, and all the work is done in the back. So Rye will sit in the center, and Rye's a gosh darn beast, man. That kid will be just fine.
All right, let's see. Mark wants to know, where you were choosing a smaller, more portable air compressor solution. I don't have room for an 80-gallon monster.
Yeah, that's on the very short list. So you give me some time here. I'm chasing all these things at once. But yeah, we're getting there. I would guess it would have some solutions by the summer. I'm going to chase this hard. There's going to be a lot of products. I'm going to have to figure out how to make this so that it's not this big retail thing. It's like very specific and very easy to follow to make choices. And so I think we'll, just like we have with pressure washer, we're going to have these progressive steps. So we'll have a little pancake style, little portable. We'll have like a 30-gallon semi-portable. We'll have a 60-gallon, a stout, but doesn't need to do pneumatics. And then we'll have the bigger rotary screw or piston, depending on what your needs are. But yeah, I'm gonna have that really well vetted and photographed, and like for instance, one of the things that is on my list of I have all these Jenny compressors, but I don't have pictures of all of them. I would want pictures of all of the ones that I'm suggesting. So we're gonna narrow that down to make it a lot simpler.
All right, Noe says, you've been wearing that watch quite a bit. You must like how it performs and looks. So how's the Apple Watch going?
I dig it. It's Apple Watch 5. I've been wearing it all the time. I don't like the purple band. It was supposed to be blue. It's called Midnight Blue. Well, I guess Midnight Blue means purple. So I guess I got to get a different band. But the whole purpose of it was to track, workouts, calories in, calories out. But I can't wear it working out because, we're racking the bar all the time. And a lot of times I put wrist wraps on, and then I just don't like working out with a watch, especially CrossFit. If you were jogging or running or, biking, it'd be fine. But not with what I'm doing.
Let's see. We got lots of stuff covered here at 3:20. Got anything else you need?
Yeah, I want to go out and check out these Pressall bottles. So.
Oh yeah, we got to go. 7 pallets worth. There's approximately 3,500 bottles.
So Black Friday's coming next week. It'll be Friday or Thursday night at 11:59 p.m. It'll start and go all the way through to Monday. Things of note, it'll be 10% off and free shipping. Rupes on Friday and Monday only have opened up Black Friday, Cyber Monday capabilities, so the polishers will also be on sale. Like I'd mentioned, I think I'm probably speaking out of turn again, but check out, you'll have an email. If you're a Hex Plus member, you'll have an email from me here shortly when we nail it down that I think Hex Plus will get an additional 5% off. Because the financing option, I don't know how many people would have really cared about that anyway, but the financing option is not really an option. or it isn't an option. So Hex Plus members will get that. So if you want to become a Hex, you're thinking about becoming a Hex Plus member. Also, all the giveaway stuff will also be on 10% off as well. So that'll also apply. I think the only thing that we can't do would be Saber cabinets, because we don't have margins there to do that. I think that's about it. I think everything else is okay. Rupes has always been the exclusion, but this is the first year ever. Well, it should have up, and if you want, they have a new. You can buy like the Nano only, with the charger. It's $410, I believe. Or you can buy maybe it's $440. It's $4 something. Or you can buy. They have a new kit with like a little drawer thing that's $620. They have that. So we should have that up in the store. I ordered those today. So I ordered a bunch of those to have in stock. And also Sonic Tools from now until the end of April. This is OG only, so only us. You can get if you buy $7,500 worth of cabinets, then you get $2,000 worth of tools, or a voucher to apply to whatever tools you want. So that's pretty neat. I'm pumped about that. The Sonic cabinets are freaking awesome. The longer I have them, the more I like them. And I'm going to get MSS Plus here next year. So we got all these things coming with garage stuff that's going to necessitate me chasing the Mosmatic drying system. We had the owner of Mosmatic come with Jamie from Mosmatic USA here yesterday, and we talked a lot about doing the drying system, which is really expensive, really only for the most high-end garages, but doing different nozzles on those in a quick disconnected fashion. But yeah, I'm working on all kinds of stuff. It's almost, if I didn't love it so much, it'd be a little overwhelming, but we're going to keep chasing. Chris is going to help me keep quantifying that. And I'm hoping to have a design facility here locally in the villages soon as well. Soon meaning next year. I got to get CrossFit out of here and somewhere else. I keep looking at properties. I want to at least get people paying before, make sure that we're at least break even, and then hopefully we can grow into whatever place we move to. So anyway, that's what's going on.
All right, and last but not least, because we have a bunch of questions coming up here in chat about certain things, lifts on sale, etc., etc. When does it start and end? We're going to be very specific with those details on the website. So if you're in California or Hawaii and it doesn't end at midnight your time or stuff like that, we're going to be very specific.
Oh, yeah, good question.
Avoid that stuff.
Yeah, I think lifts should be good. I think I have enough margin to do a 10% off on that.
We'll double check that.
Yeah, I think my margins are 25 now, but we can't do 10% off of the shipping cost, so that's where it gets tricky. Anyway, we'll try to nail that down. I'm sure we'll screw some of it up because it's getting more and more complicated as this thing becomes more and more robust. But appreciate your support. Help us get to our first $1 million month. That'd be pretty cool. Let's do a $1 million weekend. So buy all your crap from me, please. And the gift cards are pretty sick. So if tell your spouse that they don't know they don't know squat, so don't let them buy anything. Like, I don't let Michelle buy me anything. She doesn't know anything. So just tell them, get me a freaking gift card for Obsessed Garage, because you don't know jack. Don't buy me some tchotchkes. Don't buy me some junk that I don't want. You don't know what I want. Unless I told you specifically what I want. I bought it for you to give to me. Don't do that. So Michelle is very well conditioned for that. So
there you go.
Anyway.
Right, we'll be back next week on Black Friday.
Yeah. Catch you guys in the next one. Later. Let's go see what this disaster looks like.